Hello, BookTube. The Inconsistent Reader here with Part 19 Study. Now this section is only one chapter long, so this episode is going to be super duper short. Lydia is writing away in her private study when Aunt Vidala pops around the corner. And instead of jumping as a normal person would when they're startled, Lydia, with her nerves of steel, just kind of coughs and covers up her writings. Aunt Vidala says, and I quote, "I hope you're not catching a cold." "Just an allergy," I said. "Many people have them at this time of year." Aunt Vidala tells Lydia she has something crucial to discuss, so they head to the cafe. And I quote, "The new girl, Jade. I'm not convinced by her," said Aunt Vidala. "She seems unlikely." They all seem unlikely at first. "Aunt Beatrice told me about that ridiculous tattoo on her arm. As if we could be taken in by such a crude attempt to curry favor. How do you know she's not a Mayday infiltrator?" Lydia's just like, "Well, we've successfully rooted them out in the past. We'll keep an eye on her." Aunt Vidala's like, she needs to have that tattoo removed, and she also thinks that she should be interrogated. And I quote, "By herself is what she meant. She does enjoy those interrogations a little too much. I prefer more subtle methods," I said. "You didn't prefer them in the early days," said Aunt Vidala. "You didn't used to mind a little blood." Yeah, but this is someone she is trying to protect for good reasons. She knows this is baby Nicole, and she knows that she just wants to give her information and get her back out. And, of course, Vidala doesn't know that, so she's just like, "You used to be into this torture. Like, what's up with you, dude?" Now, Lydia immediately calls Commander Judd for a late night, right now, urgent meeting. Like, now. And when Lydia gets to Commander Judd's, Shunammite is the one that answers the door. Now, this is odd, considering she has four Marthas. So, this tells Lydia that Shunammite must want something. She must want to talk to her about something. And I quote, I drop my voice. "Are you ill?" "I'm not supposed to say," she whispered, "but I know there's something wrong with me." "I can have our clinic at Ardua Hall do an evaluation," I said. "I would have to get his permission," she said. "I will obtain his permission for you." She tells us that Shunammite has actually lasted quite a long time for a Judd wife. I think that's what makes Lydia want to save her, because she's been through so much and she's still here, still kicking. Judd was in his study, visibly irritated with this late meeting. She tells us about his study, and I quote, "I have been there before, sometimes when he was in it, sometimes when he was not. He should not bring work home and leave it lying around so carelessly. He had several highly valuable additions that I envy. Dore's Inferno, Dalia's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Picasso's Lysistrata." So that's the thing, like, sure, as a commander, just like, as a rich person, you get to do all these things that no one else is allowed to do because, you're a person of power, whatever. Lydia tells them they have a problem. Aunt Vidala wants to interrogate Jade, and we both know that can't happen. And I quote, "I agree," he said. "We would not be able to televise her afterwards." Did you hear what he said? He said they wouldn't be able to televise her. Like, Vidala is vicious. And Lydia wants Commander Judd, to issue a protective order so that Jade is not to be harmed. Lydia tells Judd that Aunt Vidala does not know Jade's true identity, and she'd like to keep it that way. Judd asks her why, and Lydia's just like, "You're gonna have to trust me on this. Also, Shunammite needs to come into the clinic." And I quote, "Aunt Lydia, you read my mind," he said. "It would indeed be preferable for her to be in your care rather than in mine, in case anything might happen. I depend on your discretion. I am in your hands, dear Aunt Lydia." How true, I thought, and how easily a hand can become a fist. So 2 choices lay before Aunt Lydia. Number 1, send Nicole on a perilous journey with the documents cache. And if she fails, and I quote, I will naturally be branded a traitor and will live in infamy, or rather, die in it. Or hand over baby Nicole, who will most likely eventually be killed because she's not the type to submit. And Lydia's power and position would be solidified for the rest of her days. So she's either got to do the right thing or the self-preservation thing. But no vengeance against Judd if she does that. And Shunammite would definitely be collateral damage. She would not be able to save her. And because Nicole was with Becca and Hannah, they would probably die by association as well. So she's debating in the waning hours if she still has the stone resolve to try to bring down an empire. And I quote, I waver, but tomorrow is another day. Because the truth is, even once Lydia does her part, Nicole still has to do hers, and she has to do it successfully. She has to get out of Gilead safely and get the information into the right hands. And that's the end of Section 19 study. I told you it was short. Next up will be Section 20, Bloodlines. This section is interesting because it's going to have alternating chapters between Hannah and Nicole. So that'll be cool. And it's going to be long, though, so be prepared for that one. Thanks for watching this episode of the Testaments with me, the Inconsistent Reader. And as always, make good choices.